Greetings, everybody. This is Paul from the Techno Funk Boy, and this is Dragonlance for 5th edition. So, if you are just joining us for the first time, there's actually a couple of things that we're doing with this series. One of them is going through the original Dragonlance campaigns and giving suggestions on how to convert this into 5th edition. It turns out most of what we're doing is just is kind of doing little mini reviews of each chapter as we go, and giving some tips on how to make things more interesting, how to make it flow a little bit better, and just basically sharing ideas on how to improve the game or make things smoother for the DM. And so that's what we're doing. If you have not checked this out before, we've done a lot of videos so far. I'll put the playlist here. But we are actually in the original version. We are let me take a look. I think we're at chapter 7. So where we are is we have gone through Zaxxaroth. We've come back. Solace is on fire, and one way or another, we are going to have the battle, the Caravan battle. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the Caravan battle. Now, if you remember in the last video when we talked about the plains and Solace, I made a suggestion. If you haven't watched that video, I will put that up here. But the basic suggestion is this: the book is going to railroad your players into being captured. And I prefer to open things up a bit, because the whole point of the last video is we can get our Caravan battle without railroading them in that way. And if we just structure it a little bit differently, then we can give the players an opportunity to escape, and then actually to go south with Gilthanis in order to prepare to free these people. And so now we're in the Caravan battle, and this is really interesting, because I've been reading for both the original version and also the 3.5 edition copy, which I'm actually finding to be to be very worthwhile. I think I have a picture of the original cover, but also the 3.5 edition, which they've combined several of the books and just calling it Dragons of Autumn. All of this is online at Drive-Thru RPG. If you are looking to get this sort of stuff, I'm kind of leaning toward 3.5 at this point as my base, but the original is there. The collection that they did for second edition, the Classics Volume 1, is there. That's probably your cheapest option. Dragons of Autumn is the most expensive option, but I'm actually really liking what they're adding for 3.5. But let's get into this, okay? So the build up to the battle in both books are really good, and I really don't have any suggestions. It's all role play, and so we don't have anything really to update, and the stuff that's in there is really good. So if your players are captured, they're going to meet Gilthanis in the cage. If they're playing the original characters, then they already know who that is. If they're playing their own characters that they own created, they might not know who Gilthanis is. So that'd be a good opportunity for quiet introductions. They're going to meet the Gully Dwarf Seston, who is a very, very cool character, and who ends up wanting to help and very, very I love Seston. I absolutely love Seston. They're going to pick up Fizban on the way, and all of this stuff is really, really good. And I really don't have any suggestions to add to that. Then the battle comes, and in the books, it's kind of underwhelming. It's kind of underwhelming based on the buildup and just how memorable this battle is in the novels. And I wanted to make it a bit more interesting. Now, that being said, my characters escaped. You'll remember in the last video, I suggested that if they go up in the bar, then Gilthanas is there. If they don't go up in the bar, Gilthanas isn't there. Gilthanas will meet them out in the field somewhere and suggest that they work together to free these people. But if they get captured, Gilthanas will be with them. If they escape, Gilthanas will be with them. It's great how that stuff works out. And so so we'll have Gilthanas in either case. Now, the bad part about them escaping is the whole Seston plot is just, I really couldn't find a place to put it in. And so when they did get to Pax Tharkas, where Seston is supposed to be captured, and you have this like emotion, I substituted him out for one of the NPCs that they know. Not really anything that we could do about that. Lost kind of a cool character, but there are so many cool characters. I'm fine with that. Let's jump over to the map. This is the map that's in the 3.5 edition book. There's some really cool illustrations in the original book for this thing. Very cool. There's no map because this battle is a nothing. It's a nothing. So what happens in the book is the archers strike. The heroes are able to start getting out of their cage, but they're unarmed. So they're trying to face the goblins unarmed, and they're able to find a sword, within a few rounds. It's I think it was said a 1d3, roll. And then we're, then you basically they have a basic short sword and they're fighting a bunch of goblins. Their wagon, the thing that has all their stuff in it, is guarded by hobgoblins in the back, but the hobgoblins don't really interfere unless you want to get your stuff back. And so it's pretty straightforward battle. Now, this is fine. I don't mind this map. I made my own map, and here's why. Because if your players do escape, they're going to have the option to actually pick their ambush point. And so I gave, and this takes a bit more work, but I gave a potential place of ambush and let the players deploy and kind of make the plan with Gilthanas. There, and that just gives more options, and you can give certain rewards for doing well at this once it's time. This map is very cool but very basic, and so there's not really any opportunity to do that. The archers are in the north, and that's all there is. That being said, that is more work for the DM because I had to go into Roll20 and add the carts and all the goblins. I also wanted to make this a bit more of a spectacle. I want to do this for a couple of different reasons. We just came out of a dungeon crawl, and we're about to go into another dungeon crawl. And I didn't want this to feel like a random encounter on between role-playing scenes that are between dungeon crawls. I wanted this to have some real impact and some real meaning, and that meant adding a few things. The first thing is there's just more. There's just more bad guys. There are more goblins. There are more hobgoblins. There are even some draconians there. And the goblins have bows and arrows, and the goblins are primarily going to be fighting against the archers, the elves. I'm sorry, the elven archers. And the elven archers are also going to be focused on the goblins. That's going to leave the draconians, the hobgoblins, to the players. But it's not static. And so the way we kind of approach this is we had a certain number of goblins and a certain number of elves, and they rolled each round. They rolled as a group to see how many of the other side they were going to start shooting at. And meanwhile, if the goblins end up, like, they'll start off basically about the same number, but if the goblins end up with more goblins, people, than the elves, then some of them will start turning their bows toward the heroes. And so you'll target one of them, you'll roll to target one of them, and then however many extra goblins there are, maybe you'll take that many hit points off that player, or spread them out so each person is losing like 1 or 2 hit points. Like, it's enough to be annoying and it's enough to be concerning, especially if things get out of hand, but it's not enough that's going to kill you. At the same time, if the elves start getting more elves than goblins, then they're going to start targeting the hobgoblins and the draconians. So that's going to, the players are going to want to help swing things in one favor or another. Now, the goblins, I'm actually just treating as minions. If you hit them, they're dead. And that way, if you have a player with 2 attacks, he can take out 2 of them, and that might actually swing things quite a bit, because we might be talking about 30 goblins versus 30 elves, or 40 goblins against 40 elves. In each round, if we might assign, all right, we're rolling, and if they roll more than 11, then they're going to actually start taking out some goblins, but that might be just like a D8, D10. And so they might be just be getting like 2 or 3 down every round. And so this is going to, and so if you can knock out 2 of them real quick, it might be worthwhile, even though you're not like targeting your hobgoblins or your draconians there at the same time. So this makes this battle really dynamic, and if you get some casters with some area effect spells that can just knock out a cluster of goblins at once, that might strategically long term be really, really wise, and makes for some a good turn later where our elven archers are starting to turn against the hobgoblins and stuff. All of this is super annoying for the DM. I know. Look, I know. And so you can put everything on a map if you want to do it. It certainly would be a lot easier to do a theater of the mind. In that case, if they're asking how many are clumped together, you might just pick a number, that there's no more than 5 in any given area. That's going to be the most that you're going to be able to target with any spell at all. At some point in the battle, Fizban, if the players don't stop him, will cast Fireball. Now, I had such a blast doing this, because what Fizban did was he took out a few goblins, which was great, but he targeted the Fireball a little close to the cage that he was in, and it knocked it over and caught it on fire. Again, the whole point of this is we're making this battle very dynamic. Lots of things happening at once, a lot of just chaos going on here. And now the players are like, oh my goodness, we got to get these people out of this cage. If your players start off in the cages themselves, I would put them in a different cage than Fizban. And if they do let him out early, or if they're able to stop him, if they realize this is probably not a good idea and they can stop him, then that's fine. So like there's the main point here is I want this battle to have a lot of motion to it, have a lot of interaction with the environment, using the landscape to plan, to to make sure that that it's going to have the advantage. I mentioned earlier, if they do a good job in the ambush, then I would totally give the elven archers a surprise round. Take out 3-4 goblins in that first, as a surprise. Already we're off to a good start. If they are in the cages, I do think that it would take some time to get their stuff back. I like the idea. I like the idea of you have to find a sword if you're not going for your own sword, but with goblins falling here and there, you can find a short sword fairly easily, but it might take 1, 2, or 3 rounds. I really like that from the book. But with all the chaos going on, if you want to go, make your way over to that supply thing and take a round or two to do that, I wouldn't necessarily put like a guard there. I would think that any hobgoblins out there are running around trying to beat everybody else off. But now you've spent a round and there's so much chaos going on here that is going to hurt. You're going to feel that loss of a round. So that being said, we had a blast. We had absolute blast with this battle. My players did escape, excuse me. My players did escape Solace, and so they were able to meet up with Gilthanas, and together they planned the battle. Fizban did let off his fireball. The battle was a lot of fun and very, very memorable. And so they then went and met up with Portheos very soon thereafter. Now, if Gilthanas is trapped, then Portheos will be the one that comes and lays the ambush himself. And so, one way or another, you're going to reach Portheos probably later that day or in the morning. And probably head over to Qualinesti. The book, the book at some point, if you're not following the elves' plan, the book just really leaves you to die. There's just no way around it. If your players do decide to pass on it, there's not actually a ton of places to go except to try to get in the front of Pax Tharkus, and I don't know, maybe you have Gilthanas following them to try to guide them in the right direction or something like that. But most players are going to go talk to the elves, and so that's where we're going next. That being said, we're going to make an unscheduled pit stop on the way there. And so the next 2 videos are going to be a little bit different, because if you started at level 1 like we did, then your wizards in your party are ready to take the test. And it's they're probably at level 4, and the whole point of the test of high sorcery is that you're supposed to take it before you get level 3 spells, because the wizards don't want you to be able to cast level 3 spells without their approval. And so that we're going to make a pit stop first. We're in the right spot to do it, and so we're going to do it. But I'm also going to do a video because one of the comments, and I didn't pull it up, and I apologize to get your name. When we do the video, I'm going to definitely credit you for these ideas. In the character creation video, really started going into some detail with me and trying to figure out, because in the original first edition, you just had a magic user, and that was a magic user, and magic users take the test. But now, when we're in 5th edition, there's a lot more magic users. Which ones are going to take the test? Which ones are the wizards concerned about? And I did not go. I did not go into depth on that when I went in the character creation video, and I think before we tackle that topic, we need to double back a little bit and discuss that. So those are actually going to be the next couple of videos here, and we're also going to address before the test a little bit more about why I put the Spellbook of Fistandantilus in Zaxxaroth for my wizard to find. And we've done so much with that book, so much more. And it is in the 3rd edition book, in the 3.5 edition book, but it's not in the original. But the 3rd edition book, it just has it so that you can copy spells. Basically, just has it so you can copy spells about it. We're doing a little bit more with it, and I really love where it's going. And so I want to share that with you before the test because it's going to actually play into the test. And so hold on with me. If your players are started out I either started out as like 4th level or 5th level, like they do in the book, or if they took the characters and they're playing the pre-gen characters from the book, then you don't really have to worry about the test of high sorcery. I think even if you start at level 4, just go ahead and have it so they've already taken the test, because trying to squeeze it in before they reach level 5 it's very daunting, especially because you're going to be in the middle of Zaxxaroth and it's just going to be weird. But now is the perfect time to do it. But even if that's your party, stick with me on this, because I think you're really going to enjoy the Fistandantilus ideas. And as I say, we've been having an absolute blast with those. So a quick reminder, on Patreon, we have the maps that I made in Dungeon Scrawl. If you're not using Dungeon Scrawl, if you haven't seen Dungeon Scrawl, by the way, go Dungeon Scrawl. It's amazing. I did all the maps. I remade the maps from Zaxxaroth in Dungeon Scrawl at patreon.com/technofunkboy. You're going to find those maps. They're a free post. We do have a Patreon. It supports this channel. It supports Tales from the Rusty Speeder, the Retro Station, and now the new podcast, Order of Podcasters. All of that is being supported by my Patreon. So if you are interested in supporting us, that's a great way to do so. But as always, just the basic way to support us is to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, make sure that you're getting the videos as they come out, because that actually makes an absolute huge difference. So again, do appreciate it. We're going to be back soon. I'm really excited to tell you more about the Test of High Sorcery, the Spellbook of Fistandantilus, and more about the elves as we move forward. We'll catch you next time.